I conspired in the plot to ban New York City.
Please, if you testify!
I refuse to continue to be a part of this.
Now's not the time to be stupid.
I will not involve my husband in my mistakes, and you will not become free of this jail. You found the plantation to which your mother was sold. I personally will go to the plantation and shepherd Sarah's mother to your door.
You saved my life when New York burnt. Now I saved yours. We're square.
Detective Maguire. Shake the man's hand, Detective. Detectives, sorry to keep you waiting. Come on in. We have a man dead in the Center Street tenement. An uptown man. Wealthy, visible, and wouldn't you know, good. Alderman Stephen Bartlett. He was earnest. He attended to the needs of immigrants and the poor. He deserves no scandal. Investigate, prudently, discreetly.
All specialties of Francis Maguire.
Careful now. Collaboration is the best way to erase the mark. Keating left on the 6th precinct. You and Francis Maguire are like-minded opposites. The best detective pairing.
The city will be headed to Union Square for inauguration festivities. A good distraction from any scandalous findings.
Sarah. Oh, my darling. My darling. Oh, never get a look at you. Oh, beautiful Sarah Freeman. Look at you. You a married lady. Mama, I've been afraid to let myself consider this moment, and now, praise God.
You've changed our lives. How did you convince him to free her?
There was no freeing of Hattie Master. There was a purchase. Quite a bundle of bills.
Our family is forever in your debt.
Matthew forever is a terribly limitless void.
Matthew! Matthew!
Sweet Matthew. Thank you for looking after my baby girl.
Look, I have another son. Yet another blessing. How about the rest of them? What y'all hiding your brothers?
No, I have had a change of heart. I will not testify against Kennedy.
Have you gone as mad as our defendant? After all your effort to stop that traitor from burning New York, you, on the very day of the trial, choose to cripple the government's case?
Once I myself was turned cripple, then I recognized another way to walk.
Robert Cobb Kennedy will go free. Confederate fire will consume this city. I hope you will blame yourself.
What exactly happened to my boys?
The circumstance around Louis and Tom's death were terrible. When I was, the draft riots and
things became.
Chaotic. Lewis and Thomas were called to work extra hours on the ferry as the Irish labourers abandoned their jobs, abandoned normal life in its entirety, and tore the city apart. On July 13th, during a crossing to Greenpoint, two ferries collided. When the engines caught fire, Lewis and Thomas loaded passengers into lifeboats to safety. A surviving crewman told me they acted with no regard for their own lives. He called them heroes.
This it?
Aye.
Not where Alderman Bartlett expected to meet his end, I'll wager. Hey, copper. Oh, Christ. Of all the...
Jesus.
Francis, you need me to stand down the kitty cat?
Shut your... I can't stand them. They're witches. Don't pretend your ma didn't warn you 100 times.
Hey, out!
Pocket watch survived.
Whoever lived here is long gone. But someone took time to back up. A woman.
Strangled. But not with a normal rope. See how thin it is? Put right into him.
His coat's still here. Alderman Bartlett, what we really up to down here in 5 Points?
Porky, the only reason you end up in that position is sex. No, miss.
And to think Teresa considered that the best ass she could get.
Teresa who?
Teresa Tremblay, of course.
And Teresa was from outside the city?
Came here all by her pretty self. From Hamilton, Ontario.
Who are you again?
Bab O'Dwyer. Longest tenant in the Centre Street.
Congratulations. What did you see last night?
The usual dance. Then something different. Another fella come by. And later there was commotion.
So the bloke. What did he look like?
They hollered a good lot before I nearly knocked through the wall.
So, you didn't actually see anything then?
The charges brought against the defendant, Robert Cobb Kennedy, are as follows. 1. That a captain in the military service of the insurgent states was found acting as a spy in the city of New York. 2. In violation of the law of war, undertook a regular and unlawful warfare in the city of New York by setting fire thereto. How does the accused plead?
Not guilty. All charges.
Are you prepared to proceed with this trial under the judgment of these officers?
I am. Now we'll defend myself.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh my God, you're pregnant.
You didn't know?
Should I?
The way gossip moves in this town. Lovely news, actually. That a woman can still have a private life.
No, either tell me. Should I have known?
Personally, I've never operated on shoulds.
This concludes the opening session of this tribunal hearing. We will reconvene in 1.5 hours' time.
Hey. Your neighbor? Alderman Bartlett, what do you know of his wife?
Porky, you always pick the best ones, but as you can see, we're in the middle of a military tribunal.
Then give me what you have, quickly.
The alderman's first wife died several years ago. Cholera. Last winter, he married Constance, a society doyenne.
Sounds like good luck after bad.
Last month, Constance went out to Paris, not scheduled to return until spring.
That'd be nice.
It gets better. The alderman has a grown son by his first wife, a Benjamin. Since the wedding, there's been uptown whisper that Benny's been putting the wood to his stepmother, who's younger than he is.
I take it that Benjamin's not in Paris.
When Constance flitted off, Benny moved down to his family estate on the Bronx River. Ben fancies himself a pianist. Art demands space and beauty, Gordy.
Thank you. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Finally, the carriage. Goodness, they're hiring anyone today, aren't they?
You old idiot. We're the police. We're from the 6th Ward.
The 6th. Unfortunate. I prefer to travel in a bit more style.
Listen, we need to...
Excuse me, you're smudging my Chesterfield with downtown filth.
We need to talk about your father.
Bad timing. I'm playing at an inauguration party.
Hello, Christ, get out! Please.
Help! This is kidnapping! This man is a lunatic!
Downtown filth sometimes shines like copper. There's a good lad. Lovely day.
Robert. Husband.
Saw you returned from the south. I wish I had been invited to the honeymoon.
The Freemans.
I've realized in the last 2 weeks that I may not like being in love.
My actions were a mistake. Born of lies, manipulation. I am the woman you know. What are you now brimming with? Remorse. And fear. If you could just...
I have refused to testify against Kennedy.
Oh, thank God.
Like 5 points. Seems like a good place to do dirty work, huh?
I have no idea to what you refer. I am, however, unprofessionally, uncharacteristically
Benjamin, we know your father's recent marriage must have caused a bit of stress.
I see 2 explanations. You were jealous Patty got himself a ladybird, wanted her for yourself. Or you had her first. And she claimed she couldn't choose.
This is Constance, right? Tell us about your stepmother.
Hold the horse. Christ. I'd be riding her too.
You would, wouldn't you, Francis? While the alderman was seeing to the greater needs of the city, were you lying in his bed? Screwing his wife?
No! What in the name of the law and our Lord do you think you're doing? This arrest is complete.
Oh. We merely invited the lad of the precinct. Artsy types. Love the decor. Benjamin here.
Clowns. It's bad enough his father died a tragic death. Now you're trying to blame him.
Father is dead?
And now you're trying to blame him with the murder?
What happened to my father? Where is he? What do you mean dead?
Come on.
What are you talking about?
You couldn't be bothered to dance a step or two with him until we'd finished.
I tried, obviously, but he's a rich asshole.
Captain.
Donovan tells me you specifically promised some discretion. Leave Piano Boy be for now. I'll get someone else who knows how to control himself to follow him. Make sure he doesn't run off to Paris. In the meantime, you two, solve the damn case.
What I wouldn't give to tear apart that pretentious shit's house.
We should work through this first. Go by Center Street, see if Teresa showed up. Captain, could I have a word? following up on the Keating witnesses. Have you had any sign of Annie Riley at all?
She's the devil's brat, Corcoran. And by points, I mean, she's half ghost. We'll arrest her one day. It's just the way it is. Until then, don't pretend she's important. Now go on, get out of here.
And so I am simply a citizen of the Confederate States of America. You have no evidence tying me to the so-called burning of New York. And I challenge anyone involved with these proceedings to stand and state otherwise. You've no case, no evidence. I'm nothing but an innocent man.
Thank you. You may resume your station at the defense table.
Hey! Piano war. Where'd you kids come across this?
You heard him? Where did you get your toy?
It wasn't nobody's. I found it in the empty apartment up top there.
It's all right. Up there. It's Teresa's apartment. Benny plays the piano.
There's no sign that Benny boy has been here. You find anything?
Just this letter. It's dead 2 months ago. And Teresa's mother. Dearest daughter, your father and I worry so about you. He's convinced the city of New York is devoid of God, full of repulsive immigrants, papists and other cretins. Things are hard here, but I've managed to put aside these $5 to help you. Pains is not to have word, please write.
Protestant orange bastards. Don't mind if I do.
No. Not in my case.
Our case.
Bigger noise in narrow streets are the least jarring parts of 5 points. Smallest sky stunned us most. Some nights you won't be able to locate the North Star.
But you don't need it anymore. Move in any direction, you're still free. Mama, our home. Which room?
All of them. Roof to foundation.
You're teasing. We earn money and we pay for the place we choose. Same as the white man that drove us. You're great, Penny. Get out!
There are laws. There are laws.
Laws! Well, here's my law. Find someplace else to sleep. And don't be looking for your breakfast here.
Straight up in a room.
Not a chance.
You'll spot me, won't you?
This look like a bank to you, huh?
Eva?
Sounds like Sybil is driving the O'Brien wagon again, huh?
Christ. Here it is. Well, I was kicked out. When I was already outside, I got what you see, and that's the sum.
Well, you help keep order tonight and you'll get a room. If copperheads show up to cause trouble, you'll convince them otherwise or escort them out. And sleep in a free bed when everyone else is in theirs paying.
You and my wife must have been separated at birth.
You've left me with no case. I'm about to make a closing statement, and I have no closing statement.
Recite every detail. Handling all possible implications will reveal Kennedy's guilt.
You misunderstand the mechanics of law.
Please trust me, I want nothing more than to proclaim Kennedy guilty.
Before my statement disintegrates into an embarrassment, I am begging you to satisfy that desire. At any moment before I conclude, we may add a witness. Signal to the clerk. Your testimony may be brief, but it must happen. As you can see, the defendant One Robert Cobb Kennedy is a Southern sympathizer, as evidenced by his alliances and his history as a combatant. Rail and hotel records show that not only was Kennedy in New York City on the day of the arson at Barnum's Museum and the 6 hotels, he was also registered at Lovejoy's, one of the burned. While there are no witnesses available, while we have despite registering at Lovejoy's, the defendant disappeared after the fire. There is no explanation for this abrupt departure. Of course, other individuals were involved. However, it is clear that the I would like to announce a new witness. I call Mr. Morehouse to the stand. Mr. Norbert Morehouse.
Benny needs to explain why his dad was killed with piano wire. Knock again.
We can't even get the butler.
Here, I got this.
Wait. Something's not right.
Our Benny boy's in there. I know he is. Let's not spook him till we get him cuffed and then... Oh, try to drink your guilt away there, Benny boy. Oh, Tara knew us.
What's this? Suicide note. When you shall these unlucky deeds relate, speak of me as I am, nothing extenuate, nor set down aught in malice, and must you speak of one that loved not wisely but too well.
The hell does that mean?
After threatening me during our meeting at Lovejoy's Hotel, I had no choice but to deliver the money, which in turn delivered to the doorstep of the traitor's Greek fire. That is the extent of my involvement and of my witness. I can, however, confirm with absolute certainty that the arson of New York City was organized and primarily executed by that man, Robert Cobb Kennedy.
Objection. Quiet. Any further questions?
Not at the present time.
And we will allow for a brief recess.
Welcome back to New York.
All right, get up.
And thank you.
To a man of contracts, a deal is a deal.
Elizabeth?
And you're a fool if you thought I would forgo saving Elizabeth to stay in Atlanta. That city is hell with mint juleps.
Remember those words, because you won't be getting anything beyond our agreement. Still, it is immensely satisfying to hear you admit your mistake in supporting Kennedy.
The only mistake I make was getting caught.
Gentlemen, might I suggest that we embrace this opportunity for a fresh start? A new beginning for us all.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see the two of you behave like father and son just this once. In memory of your mother.
Sugar. Sugar in your corn dodger. You have to become a Yankee.
If your collards are as salty as I remember, we will be clinging to this sweet Yankee cornbread for dear life. Mama, here in the North, I have become the woman I want to be.
That's as clear as well water. I'm proud to be your mother.
Mama, you were almost a grandmother. 2 months ago, I lost a child. I know my loss is coming. But with you here, I want so badly for my womb to be able to carry.
I lost 4 babies before their births. 2 before Louis came out alive. Many of us begin motherhood with miscarriage. Pregnancy is a feat, darling. Children are a blessing, but also a part of you that's gone forever. The things I never dreamed would happen between my first baby and today. There's all sorts of unexpected ahead of you.
I'm gonna see if this oven's hot.
I took by the throat the circumcised dog and smote him thus. Signed, Benjamin Bartlett. Sounds more like Shakespeare.
Othello's suicide speech, in fact. A fella named Hello gives a goodbye speech. He may finally be getting a sense of humor. A good detective or captain educates himself in all culture, so he may be fluent in any crime. Edwin Booth is scheduled to play the title role in Oath Hello at the Wintergarten next month. I'll get you a ticket.
So Benjamin kills himself and admits to murdering his father.
We know that because this fellow killed his.
No, the Moor killed his wife. He believed her unfaithful, although she just misplaced a handkerchief.
Benjamin seemed genuinely surprised to learn of his father's death.
Don't be naive. Every guilty man's most rehearsed expression is disbelief.
You do cling to cases, like a swooning debutante to her folding fan, and nearly as emotional. I heard about the scene at the Bartlett mansion. On the spectrum of humanity, let's move toward urban man and away from pillaging Viking, shall we? But what is life if we do not have improvements to which to aspire to approaching grace?
Islam.
Spring certainly has inspired 5 points.
I carry another child.
Yes.
Kevin has left our home.
I heard such, but that doesn't mean...
Has he taken up at the whorehouse?
Ellen, it is not my position to sort this out. I think you know what you need to do. Go find him. Find a way to talk to him.
I would very much like to commend the detectives of the 6th Precinct for their commitment to order, especially on this, a national day of celebration. From tragic suicide and murder, we move forward to a better and more ordered community. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with the Bartlett family and friends. Anything else, gentlemen?
Do you have any motive why Benjamin Bartlett...
It's good to close the case with you again.
We solved the case in some poetry.
Makes the bosses happy.
What about the stuff you can touch? The evidence.
You know what touches me? A stiff drink. Eva's got me rough and copperheads for a room tonight. Come around. Save me from some inauguration idiots, will you?
There's a wife and a mistress unaccounted for. A mansion with no staff of any kind, and a murderer who supposedly destroys his most prized possession to build his murder weapon. This case isn't done.
I asked Sullivan about Annie. He didn't lie. Kevin, some things this city just swallows. Come to Eva's. Toast in the beginning might do you some good.
Francis?
Ellen, why
said Kennedy shall be hung by the neck until he be dead. At such time and place as the commanding general may direct. For our agreement, I did not testify against you. And as you claim to be a man of honor, I entrust that you will keep your end of the bargain. Knowledge of Elizabeth's involvement will end with your death.
Oh, Robert. Your cleverness has always lacked a certain vision, hasn't it? Such leaps in logic. How could I possibly accuse your wife when I myself am innocent? Do you think your choices will not haunt you?
The silence makes me mad. This silence. It isn't silence. It fills me. Christ, I've missed you.
We can't. We shouldn't make the same mistakes.
Mistakes? I'm your ear because you want to say to my face I'm a mistake? You thought of me because I'm a glaring, overwhelming mistake?
I need life back, Francis. Real life.
Don't treat me like a fool who invented a world. What we have.
I'm talking about a return to real living, not sitting at home feeling something has crawled into my heart.
Ellen,
I can't take a full breath.
You wonder why you feel half alive. You spend your days pining after a man who will never forgive you. A man who despises you to his very core. You want to play the role of doting wife? Go right ahead. But don't you dare insult me by acting like what we had wasn't good. We'll be forever a part of you. Don't disrespect that child like that. That child would be 6 months old now. Do you count his birthdays? Not just the months, but the mornings. Do you wake up thinking of his wee hand so fiercely that you look down expecting to be holding a soft thing all love and need? Eyes you're green. Hair me brown. If you would have chosen me, I never would have left you. Remember that. In the middle of the night, as you lie in bed alone.
Dearest daughter, your father and I worry so about you. He's convinced the city of New York is devoid of God. Things are hard here, but I've managed to put aside these $5 to help you. The pain is not to have a word. Please write. Your loving mother.
Behold, the chief who now commands once more to serve his country stands.
Darling!
Corky, I need to talk to you.
No.
Just for a moment.
I can't. Donovan, about the Bartlett case.
When I was on the force, I used to love cases like the Bartletts. Wrap 'em up, get down to the pub for a wee one on the way home, but something tells me you are not as pleased.
The solution was too easy.
Sometimes crimes are just that easy, turning on base human nature and nothing more. Sometimes you have to learn to accept the animal inside of us. Respect the opportunity to move on towards the more evolved.
I'm certain the alderman's farm girl knows exactly what happened in that room. And if Teresa Tremblay doesn't know why it happened, I can find out.
Okay, now I understand. I understand. You see the full story. Clean might be comforting, but you really think in solving these cases, it explains why happenstance seizes hold of our lives. You, Kevin Corcoran, think the full story helps us solve ourselves. And while I rarely share your precise incentive, I'm always fascinated by your dedication. Thank you, sir.
I rarely imbibe, but this is the rarest of days.
To you, here, safe.
To this fine home.
And to Lincoln for what he has done and what he will do. When the president first took office, I realized real pride, national belonging could rise in my chest. I felt connected to this country as to a grand being.
Unfortunately, that grand being was more comfortable with you as a slave. And you still aren't allowed to elect your fair hero.
Well, Lincoln is a champion of education, land for the poor, and I believe in the end, true emancipation. We will have the right to vote.
Well, I don't trust a white man's good intentions until they've gone so far he can't undo them.
Are we certain that they're celebrating?
With the Irish, sometimes celebration and riot are notes of the same song.
With high hope for the future, no prediction in regard to it is ventured. On the occasion corresponding to this 4 years ago, all thoughts were anxiously directed to an impending civil war. Insurgent agents were in the city seeking to destroy it without war, seeking to dissolve the Union. Neither party expected for the war the magnitude or the duration which it has already attained. Each looked for an easier triumph, and a result less fundamental and less astounding. And so he says, with charity for all, with firmness in the right.
I need to use your telegraph machine to Ontario police business.
Happy inauguration to you too, Corky. The system's been overwhelmed, but now the address has come through. Everyone seems to be feting our leader. Have a go.
This will be sent to the family of Teresa Tremblay.
Where was I? Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace. Peace.
Peace, peace.
And to Lincoln.
And to Lincoln.
Well, I'd say we've got a cholera outbreak on our hands.
I'm trying to secure the contract to build the city's new aqueduct. This man is my only viable competition.
Come sit with Daddy, little monkey.
It's hard to tell sometimes. There's a difference between a man and an animal.
We built a goddamn train track to nowhere.
How much is lost?
You would hate to wind up penniless, wouldn't you?
Neglect sometimes feeds anticipation. I feel it coming on like a storm about to